Hey, chicas. Welcome to the Lovelda Show Women of Power podcast, the show where women share their personal power tools, the techniques, strategies, and ways of being which have enabled their business and life success. I am your host, Lovelda Vincenzi, a female speaker mentor, speaker, and event host on a mission to unleash authentic, powerful female voices onto the world. In today's episode, we'll be uncovering the power tools of Dallas Gordon. Dallas is an international business coach, marketing expert, author, and speaker who specializes in teaching purpose-driven digitalpreneurs how to build irresistible brands, maximize traffic and sales, and get big results online. She encourages excellence in the marketplace and is passionate about empowering others to say heck yes to the phenomenal. She has coached multiple entrepreneurs to six figures and beyond, teaching them to monetize their passion and break free of their 9-to-5 jobs, utilizing various online business and marketing strategies. Dallas is a top producer on multiple e-commerce platforms and is highly sought after as a business coach. She has earned her BA in Theology and Christian Studies. She continues to inspire women and men across the world as she embarks on the exciting journey as CEO of multiple thriving companies. In this episode, Dallas shares her journey to success and the biggest points of learning that have contributed to her growth. Remember, all of the links shared in this show can be found in the show notes. The only way to ensure that you get your regular fix of this show is to click on that subscribe button right now to make sure that you get updates as soon as a new show is added. Well, that's quite enough for me for now, so let's get on with the show. Welcome to another episode of the Lovelda Show Women of Power podcast. Thank you so much for joining. If this is your first time listening for the show, like seriously, if you haven't subscribed yet, I mean, the juiciness, there's more to come. We're just getting warmed up. Like it's season 1. There's so much more juiciness to come. The other thing I'm going to let you know is I am on YouTube too, right? So you can subscribe on the podcast version. You can subscribe on the YouTube channel. You know what? You can subscribe across all of the channels. I mean, why not? Like if you do that, then you never miss a show. So basically, the format of this show is us girls are going to sit and put the worlds to rights. So I am bringing together, my passion is having women's voices powerfully, authentically out there, transforming the world the way it should be, in my view anyway. I mean, don't write me with your messages of other things. Like I'm just living in the Lovelda bubble right now, and I'm going to share the Lovelda bubble with you. So I'm bringing together women to understand what is it, like fundamentally, who are these women that are like really making a difference? So these are friends of mine, people I've met of influence, like ba-bam stuff. So the lady I've got today, I mean, this show is going, I mean, you need to put your seatbelt on and stuff because it's going to be good. So the lady I've got today has many different facets to her, like as all of the women I've been interviewing do. But what I love about her beautiful, bubbly personality ain't nothing to do with marketing. This girl don't know. You know when some people, they just roll over and stuff just works for them? That is her. So please welcome today, Dallas Gordon.
Hey, thanks for having me, beautiful.
Girl, I couldn't do this show and not have you here. How was I going to do that?
Appreciate it. So I have no idea.
Tell us, because there'll be people listening like, okay, so Lovelda's hypes it up. It's all good. And trust me, I didn't come close to hyping. Like Dallas is deep. I'm skimming the surface with my hype peeps. Like I didn't even go close to the real hype. Dallas, for people who've not met you before, you have multiple sides to your personality. I mean, we all do to a certain extent. But the outside business part, if we start with that, and then we can talk about some of the other elements, especially some of the newer elements perhaps that you've been introducing into your life. So business-wise, I just said marketing, like help us understand more deeply, because it's a big topic. It's a big area.
It is. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for having me again, beautiful. I am a business coach, marketing strategist, author, and I'm doing some speaking as well. And what I do is I service mainly coaches and service providers. So I teach them how to align properly with their messaging. We're working on some money blocks, just removing those. We're getting very, very clear and intentional with digital marketing. So I actually specialize in marketing in this digital space, specifically online, which is very helpful lately, by the way, with this virus and all this stuff going on. And I also help people to diversify their money making strategies in this space as well, because, us business owners like to have quite a few irons in the pot when it comes to our money. So that's another thing that I do as well. So that pretty much sums it up.
That's a lot. You're pretty diversified yourself as well. So as well as the online coaching, you've got a few new ventures coming out as well?
Yes, I do. I actually do have a subscription box business that I actually am putting into the marketplace. It's just using all the skills that I've been able to use all the years. So it's all over the years. So it's really, really exciting for me to be able to put this product out. So it's a variety of different products from hand makers, wholesalers, different people who produce products. And it's going to put these products in the homes of, for the first time, 50 plus to 100 plus women who love to try great products, but also have their own online stores and businesses as well. So it's very exciting. It's very girly. So I'm really, really, really excited about it.
I love that you go out and you like take all these different ideas and put it together. And how is the digital, like having an understanding of the digital space helped, especially when you say being intentional? We're aware of like social media and online, but let's be honest, most of us are kind of flapping a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How on earth did you manage to wrap your head around it to be able to have such clarity?
I've just been doing it for a really, really long time. You know how you just been riding your bike forever and ever and ever. And after a while, you get good at it. You fall off a million times. That was me. Of course, I've hired a million coaches as well. So I've been down that route. So I've invested in myself. I've also done a lot of mistake making, falling on my knee, scuffing up my knee, getting back up again. I've done a lot of it and I've just gotten really good at it. And also I'm passionate about it. So I really, really love showing up in this way. It's all about just making noise, getting excited about what you do, and just getting really intentional about showing up. It doesn't really feel like work when you love it. So
you do love it. So, okay, when you say intentional about showing up, is that kind of sitting back and being like, I'm going to post 3 times a day? Is that what you mean?
So when I say intentional, like some people just do the in general marketing instructions, which are very boring. So it's the opposite of just like, I'm going to post, 3 times every single day. I'm just going to go live once a week. I'm just going to send daily emails out, or, you know how you can go to an article and you can read everything that you're supposed to do to be a world-class marketer. It's the opposite of that. It's basically showing up in your way, which makes it so much more powerful, right? And being intentional about it. So what do you really want to say? So what I work with my clients to do is like really align with their messaging first. Because if you don't know who your message is for specifically and how you can help them, and you're not in alignment with it, you get out there and you're just saying stuff and nobody seems to be really hearing you or taking action on your marketing. Oh, so that's more like what I mean.
So that's when you be posting and posting and posting.
Yeah.
And
nobody's taking action. That's a problem. And it's not always equivalent to likes and comments either, because you can post something and it doesn't get a lot of likes. I mean, I pretty much erased, my Facebook profile and started a whole new one. So it may not get a whole lot of likes, but you see people taking action, and that's what really matters,
So it's the stuff that actually has the impact. What would you say? Because what you're saying at the moment, there's people out there doing things, visibility coaching. Like, what is the line between visibility type stuff and marketing? Because it sounds like you kind of merge the two a bit in what you're doing.
You know what, Lovelda, please. This is a complicated question. Okay. So what's the line between visibility and marketing? I think it's no line. I think it's like merge. It's one and the same. Marketing is all about being seen, getting more eyes on your stuff, and also communicating in a way that or speaking in a language that your ideal client or your soul client can understand. Because sometimes we're just speaking and we're saying what we think we should say for the specific niche that we're in. But what do you really want to say? What do you, it's being bold enough to say what you really want to say.
Ooh, the stuff
and
you've been
having people to
saying.
hear you.
It's like I used to say to my clients, I remember speaking to somebody and they shared all this stuff that they do, like speaking wise. And I was like, girl, where do I find that? Like when I, when I go look you up, where do I find that? Like if that's what you believe, if that's who you are, like where is it? So is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes we hide behind, what we think we should say or what we think people want to hear from us, but when we get clear on that messaging and we get real with ourselves about, okay, who do we really want to serve and what do they really need? And then we get more intentional in showing up in that way. Then I feel like that's when you get people taking action and you're more impactful in your message.
Ooh, visibility versus impact. I think some people so busy focused on the visibility because it's addictive. I'm not going to lie. Like I put a post out sometimes and I'll be like, nobody's looking.
Yeah, it happens to me all the time. I mean, especially like I said, I actually detoxed from Facebook and I actually took down my whole profile. And that was a profile that I've spent 10 years building. And the mood, it was a whole mood for me to have taken it down. I was a little sad and down, and I basically had been associating like my self-worth with that profile, with those likes, with those comments, with all that engagement I had over there. And starting over has been so cleansing for me because I don't have all that going on. It's like a new world. I'm connecting with new people, new entrepreneurs who don't know who I am. And I'm used to everybody knowing who I am on my profile. So it was like a real reality check for me.
That is so cool. I mean, it's so brave in some ways. It's like, why would you?
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, you crazy.
Right. Seriously crazy.
Why would you do that?
I know, right?
What is it that you think makes a woman powerful?
Let's see.
It's not a simple question, is it?
What makes a woman powerful? I think getting over yourself. And because we all have ourself to deal with. And that can be different on different days. Ourself as a woman could involve our emotions, assumptions, just sitting assuming. It can be those I can'ts that kind of dance around in your mind. And I think that it's making the choice on a daily basis to feel the fear and do it anyway. I think that's what makes a powerful woman. Somebody who wrecks that fear and shows up, because we're going to feel it. I mean, some days I wake up in the morning and I look at my diary and I'm like, oh my God, I have 3 calls today. And who is this woman that I have to show up and be today? Sometimes I feel like this little girl is like, oh my God, how am I going to walk in those shoes? And sometimes it's fear. However, I get dressed, girl, put these pink lips on and show up. And when I get there, I see that it was nothing to be afraid of because that's my gift. And I get to show my genius,
There's something about not being afraid to like be our gift and show our gift and fully show up as our gift, which is normally something that's like, so it feels trivial to us because it's like, gosh, it's so easy. Like, doesn't everybody know this? Like, how is it going to have a place in the world? Doesn't everybody know that? No, girl, they don't.
It's true.
Would be the short answer. No, girl, they don't. Okay, I'm going to ask you the mean question I ask all my guests. It's like
I'm like holding my breath.
Let me bring people onto a podcast and then ask them really mean questions. But it's, you can handle this. And it's mainly because I'm curious. I want to know, like I said at the top of the show, for me, this is very much about truly kind of getting under the skin of what power and a powerful voice looks like. And you to shut down a Facebook profile and start all over again, and the journey, personal journey and business journey that you've been on, it's not always been smooth riding. So I kind of want to know, to get to where you are today, if you had to take all of that, like all of the stuff you've done ever, and boil it down to 3 things, like 3 things that you would say, this is like, if it were not for these 3 things, these are the things that have enabled my business success and my life success, what would they be? Should we start with the first one?
Yes, please.
So what would your first one be?
So the first one would be ease, doing everything with ease, which has been definitely learned behavior, ladies, for me, because I don't know what type of personality I have. I don't know which type I am, but I like to pretty much normally control everything. I like to know what's happening and when, you know, and basically I was everything the opposite of ease. So I'll never forget, you know, a couple of years ago when, you know, and my husband has been really my biggest supporter with this business. And I'm just was so used to him encouraging me and saying, I'm proud of you, and, you know, patting me up. Y'all, one night, he gave me some tough love.
Say what now?
Yes. And he said to me that he would no longer support me if I didn't pull it together. He said he was tired of my moods. He was tired of me falling apart. When the unexpected happened in my business, he was tired of the emotions and the ups and downs, and he just didn't like the person that I had become.
He did not.
Girl, he told me, he just gave me all the tea. Okay, he didn't do any holding back, and it really hurt, but it made me look in the mirror. And it really sent me down a different path to seek, you know, that inner peace. And I had to learn how to surrender. And I'm going to be honest, I'm still learning daily how to just say, you know, if I don't know everything that's next, I'm safe. It's okay. It's okay. And what I will say is, over the past couple years, I've been on a serious path to just operating in complete ease, and my business growth and success has literally accelerated. I've had my biggest income months. My biggest success with clients has been over the past couple years. So although I haven't been working as hard, I haven't been as structured, I haven't been as hard on myself, I'm giving myself the mercy and the kindness on some days just to do nothing. And you personally know, Lovelda, that it can be a struggle for me.
Girl, it's not just you. I had that journey. I told you, I don't know if I've shared it on this podcast. I had a coach and I was working full-time at the time. And I love the woman to bits now, but in this moment, I didn't. I'm going to be honest. In this particular moment, I didn't. Because when I joined the mastermind coaching arrangement, within like 2 months, it was like, okay, so you need to fire these low-paying clients. And I was like, so that was the only income I was getting from my business. And then that was followed by, and you need to take a day off. Now, listen, everybody else on that dang mastermind was full-time in their frigging business at the time. I was not. And so I felt a certain kind of way. There was a bit of me that was just like, I mean, who do you think you are? Do you not know, like, I only got 2 days a week to work properly on my business, and you done halved that. I don't see you doing this to nobody else. I mean, I felt a certain kind of way. I'm not going to lie. And she knew I felt a certain kind of way because I didn't keep my mouth shut either. It was not nice.
I know.
It was not a nice conversation. However, what helped me to take it on was when it was balanced with, well, even your phone needs recharging. Like, you know, when you're that exhausted and that depleted, you're really not as effective. So to take that little time out, then you get to be more effective. And what I did, because I was like a little bit of a busybody, to be honest, what I ended up doing is I was like, oh, okay, so that's the day I get to meet my friends, and that's the day I get to do the housework, and that's the day I get to. So I filled it with a whole bunch of other stuff, but it had an opening for me to have a life, I suppose, is probably what I got to start to see. It's like, up until that point, there wasn't a life. It was just work and work and work and total like stress, and nothing fell apart. It grew. I was like, what is this?
Wow. Yes. What is that? Right.
So what's been your, how have you navigated that moving to ease space? Because I know personally for me, I've been there with you for part of your journey as well. Like it's not easy, especially, I mean, it's the mind monkeys, for want of a better word, who will tell you all the things you should be doing when all you want to do is sit down and do nothing. What have you done to kind of shore you up and help you to navigate that such that ease has become a thing that's more prevalent in your life?
Really just listening to myself and not fighting with myself all the time. Like some days it's just everything in the universe, everything in my body is screaming, sit down, miss. And I'm just learning to listen and not fight. And you know when you're fighting yourself, because you get a mental block, you get a headache, you can feel it in your body when you're fighting with yourself. Giving myself a lot of grace, because when I trust and surrender, there's like this magic that comes with it. I call this magical little power that I almost feel like more time is added for me to get it done another day. Like sometimes the main reason we rush is because we think I have to stay on this deadline, because if I don't have to do it now, it's going to cause me to be stressed and and I'm going to be late, you know, and none of that happened. You find the perfect time and space and energy to be able to get it done, and then some, where you can actually bring life to your work and inspiration. You can be inspired to work. There's nothing like being inspired to work, you know, and maybe you have maybe you put it off today because, you know, today needs to be kind of like a relaxed day. Maybe one night over the weekend when everybody's asleep and you've had enough sleep and you just have the spark to work, and you run a tornado around the task because you're so excited to do it, and you're done in 30 minutes tops, where if you had pushed yourself that day that you should have rested, it would have taken you all day and all night to do it. So I'm just learning to like trust how I feel and, you know, trust my process.
Oh, trust, that word, girl. That word. I was saying to somebody earlier on today, in fact, I found myself saying it a lot recently. The thing is, when we're pushing to do stuff, it's because we don't believe that we're universally supported in whatever you think the universe is. Universally, you know, whether you're looking at it in an energetic or a religious or a spiritual sense, like it doesn't matter. You just don't feel like you have the support. So if it's to be done, it's to be done by me. It's to be done by me. And what I noticed is I noticed that I had the power, if I wasn't in the mood for a meeting, to energetically cancel it. Like, and what I meant by that is I'd get up with like a list of things I needed to do. And I just write down, like in the really stressful periods, I just write down like, here are the core things I need to get done. And what would happen is it was like heaven and earth would move for it to happen. So weird stuff would happen, like the big 2-hour meeting that wasn't really that important, but I couldn't cancel it because, you know, just I couldn't. They would, for whatever reason, it just wouldn't happen, or the internet wouldn't work, or it get cut really short. Something would happen with that meeting. And then the bank, nobody wants to call the bank because you're always on hold forever. They'd call me. I was like, girl, I meant to call you. And whilst we're on the phone, and so the thing I thought was going to take, you know, an hour out of my day at least is done in 15 minutes because they happened to call me just because that's what I needed that day. And so when you say trust, I'm like, oh, the depth of that word, because ease is the opposite of trust. It's like, if you're not the opposite, ease and trust are like best friends, right? Absolutely. And it's difficult to have the level of ease and allow if you just don't trust yourself, the universe, others, anybody.
True. Very true.
So your first power tool is ease.
Yes.
What's the second one?
Okay. Integrity.
Oh, that's deep. What do you mean by integrity? What do you mean by integrity?
So I know that it means something different for everybody. I always just think about, and it's just basic principles, you know, that I've grown up on, was just basically, you know, treat other people the way that you would want to be treated. I know that if I were to hire a coach, or if I were to work with a marketing strategist, I would expect them to be honest with me, even when it hurts. I would expect them to tell me if I'm not fit for the program. and not just take my money.
Mm-hmm.
I would expect for them to show up on time. If they can't, to communicate. I would expect them to push me in ways that, you know, I may have thought I was limited. I would just expect them to operate in those values. So I ask myself, what would I expect? And I just make sure that I'm living up to those things. And if I'm not, I will check myself. It's basically.
I think the hardest one on that list is to do what needs to be done, even when it hurts.
Yes. And to say, you know, listen, you're not sure, to have those talks with yourself, say, listen, you're not showing up the way you should be. You need to get it together. Because you wouldn't like it if somebody else did this to you. Sometimes those real hardcore, like, looks in the mirror get me straight. And I think it all boils down to just asking yourself, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
What do I stand for? And does this align? Does this align? And there are so many times that there was a point, to be transparent, in my whole, like, kind of like career with this, I should say, career as a businesswoman. There was a time that I would just take money. Like, I'm great at selling. I have a great energy to sell to people, to sell stuff to people. I could sell you some milk. So
I'd be like, I don't need milk.
Right. But you're going to take it. Exactly. That was where I was, where it didn't matter, like, who I was selling to. In my immaturity, I was just selling to whoever. And I was collecting money for stuff that was outside of my, you know, jurisdiction and stuff like that. It was stuff that I shouldn't have been doing, you know. And I had to get to a point in my business to not act in that way. That, and during that time that I had kind of like an epiphany of, wait, you are doing way too much, girl. You need to pull it back. And this is not even what you do. Why are you doing all these tasks that, and I was so stressed and I had so much work because I'm just collecting money for a living, right? I had to literally issue at least 5 refunds. And let me tell you, that hurt. Nobody wants to issue refunds. I had to go to those clients and say, to be honest with you, I'm not going to be able to serve you the way that you need to be served, because I'm over capacity right now. So I'm going to have to refund you. And that was a really hard lesson for me, that if there is no connection between me and a client, or a client needs a service that it's just something I don't do,
mm-hmm.
I would rather be honest and say, I can't take your money because this isn't what I do, but maybe I can, you know, refer you to someone who does. Or even if I can't, just the honesty and integrity to not operate in scarcity all the time, and to just say, once again, back to trust, that this client may not be for me. I'm going to serve them the best that I can on this call. And if I know good and well that I don't have what it takes to be that person's particular coach, to just release them and let them go.
I think the other thing is being true with what your actual talents are. Because
Yes.
I've been the other side of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have been on the other side of that on more than one occasion. So, like, one of my things with my suppliers is, if you tell me there's something you can't do, I want to jump up for joy. I'm like, yes, because I know you're not going to step out. You're not going to be that yes person who tells me,
Mm-hmm.
like, you're half a designer. So yeah, I can design your stuff, but you're not really a designer. You're half a Facebook ads person, but you're not really that.
Right.
So when somebody tells me, oh, I do ads and I build websites and I write marketing strategies.
I run away. Yeah.
I run away, or I say, where did you start? What were you doing first? Because that's the only thing you should be doing. Because the rest of it, you learn just enough, but it's not your passion. It's not what you're excited about. And now you're taking on these things, but you're kind of doing them half. And so you wanting to say yes to everything, but the truth of the matter is you end up upsetting people, because what happens, especially if I'm paying suppliers for like social media or ads, the digital market space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't, that's not their real zone of genius. Most of the time, they spend most of their time trying to research how to answer my questions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I go to these profiles sometimes. Let's just say you're trying to connect with somebody, whether you're on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or wherever you are, and you just go to their bio. You want to see like what they do. And they're like, I sell CBD oil, weight loss products. I'm also a lawyer, a fitness trainer, a marketing. I run Facebook ads. I also can write. No, I run away from that. There's no way that you're going to be able to serve me well if you're split up in that many areas. And I feel like the reason that people do that, the core of that is fear, because they're afraid that if they don't have so many irons in the pot all over the place, that they're not going to make money, that they're going to leave money on the table. And that's kind of, I wasn't that bad with it, but that's kind of where I was allowing my clients to tell me like what I needed to develop for them because they needed it. Even though it wasn't like, I am a coach, I'm a consultant, I'm not really a service provider. So I'm not really the one to schedule your social media. I'm not the one to run your ads. I'm not going to schedule your pins on Pinterest. And I would get clients who were like, but I need this. I mean, I can teach it, but it's not my gift to sit with that administrative work and do that. I'll get frustrated. I won't feel good doing that. And then I'm frustrated with the amount of money I've taken for it. So I had to start telling clients that I know that that's what you need, but that's not what I do.
And I love what you say there, when you've taken on something you shouldn't do, because when it comes to execute it, you don't want to do it.
There you go. I love showing up to consult, or I love showing up to coach, right? I love writing books, or I love this opportunity like this to be able to speak on a podcast. I'm completely having fun. I'm lighting up. But if somebody gives me something that I know I have no business with, my whole body is tight. I've got a headache. I'm frustrated with the work. I don't enjoy it. So how am I going to serve that client well when I'm in a total
It's
funk?
the opposite of ease, right?
Absolutely.
You're back to, okay, let's just make it happen. So ladies, if you're listening to this and you are getting like having that feeling where you've got so many things going on and you don't know what to do, maybe there's some things you need to take off your plate, and that might be some uncomfortable conversations with people. You know what? It may even cost you money. Right? Yes. It may cost you money to let go of things, but you gotta let go of what you don't want to make room for what you really do want. And then you have to say no to the things you don't want to do anymore, or they just keep coming. So we've got two. So we've got ease, we've got integrity. So don't take on things you shouldn't be doing. And sometimes you do it accidentally. When you figure out you shouldn't be doing it, don't do it no more. Do what you say you're going to do. Treat others the way you won't be treated. What's your third?
What was my third? That third one.
That third one, something to do with fears.
Okay. Was it facing your fears? I can't. I'm doing a total blank after those first two.
So now people, you get to know the guests, get to think of this in advance, right? Sometimes it stays right at the top of the head, and other times it's like, I can't remember what I said. And then when I tell you, you're going to go, that's exactly what I said. You're facing your fears daily.
Okay, there we go. Well, I kind of talked ahead of myself a little earlier about the face, but I will talk again on it. Facing my fears daily literally has been huge for me, because I was what the world considers, and I say what the world considers, introverted. That's what they like to label people who, it's really more to do with what you kind of do with other people's energy, really, and how you recharge. And I am not one of those people that necessarily enjoys large crowds of people. I am more of an intimate, I've learned that about myself, that I want to say, oh, I'm just this one-to-many person. I've learned that I'm not. I've learned that if I have an event, about 20 to 25 women is good enough for me versus hundreds. Because I find it a little difficult and unnatural to split myself up so many different ways. So facing my fears, sometimes some of the things that I need to do to show up for my business are very uncomfortable for me. Speaking and just being visible. My first video was so challenging. I never forget when I hired a coach, because I knew that there was something greater that I needed to do versus before. I just started out in e-commerce, kind of behind the scenes, just selling online products, but not being visible. When my coach at the time told me that I needed to hit that live button and record my first live video, honestly, I felt violated.
Girl, that's deep. Violated, really?
Violated. I was like, that's my privacy. No, I'm not showing my face on video. I just feel like I'm a private person. And that's what I said. I'm sure my mentor at the time chuckled, but I had to literally get over myself. And it's so many times that I have to face my fears with the things that I have to do, that I have to show up and do. Like, if I don't do this, no one's going to know me. No one's going to know that I offer things. No one's going to know that I'm here selling unless I say it and actually sell. If I don't get on these calls and talk and ask for the sale or offer something, how are they going to know I'm selling anything? So, I've had to literally, kind of draw that line in the sand for myself and say, sister, if you don't step over it, you're going to stay where you are. You're not going to grow, and you're not going to be happy with your results. So that's kind of something that I'm faced with almost daily. But I think that I realize that it's just what we do.
It's so refreshing to hear that, not because I want people to know that you're scared of stuff, but it's refreshing to hear that because I think when you're starting or when you're in an early phase, or even when you're further along, like, you think there comes a point where you'll just be fine. I think you hit a point where you kind of understand there's always going to be something else that's going to terrify me.
Yes. Yeah, it gets better. Like, I'm more natural now hitting a live video, but still every now and then when I have to be interviewed or I have to speak in front of a crowd or I have to, even go live, there's a little bit of butterflies in my stomach still. I still feel a little jittery. I still feel a little uncomfortable sometimes when I walk into a room and I don't know anyone. As to now, I go to events all alone now, which I never would do before, but I know that I need to for growth purposes. Like, yes, those little butterflies come up for me still. But over time, after you put yourself in those situations over and over again, it does get better.
And I think you've just got to give yourself permission and the space. So when I'm running, so I run an incubator for speakers, and because I'm talking about selling, and women get a bit uncomfortable with selling. I mean, there's a reason they haven't been doing it actively until this point. And I watch these women, they're like really wanting to get going. And I've learned over time, they'll go so far until they hit, it'll be something silly. It's normally something which is, seems trivial externally looking in, but for the person in it in the moment, it's not trivial. It's like everything's ready, but I can't seem to hit send on that one email, even though the email's only a line long and it's not that deep. Like, right. And it's not a difficult, the process couldn't be any broken down anymore or made any simpler, but sometimes it's just, you're gonna have to find that little bout of courage to just take the first step and get that. Maybe it might, even with the best help in the world, right?
Yes.
Even when you've got somebody holding you, telling you exactly what to do, they can't walk it for you. You're going to have to find the courage to take that first step and understand, even the person in front of you who might be supporting you, they're still going through their moments where something's got them going, you want me to do what now?
Yes.
What? Wow. Thank you for being so open and authentic and just sharing so much just
no problem.
Pure genius. There'll be people listening who are like, oh gosh, thank you. I want to learn from a marketing G who's just going to tell me it as it is. And I get she's not going to do my marketing for me. But nonetheless, Dallas sounds awesome because I could just do with her genius. How do people get in touch with you? Where do they find you?
You could go to dallasgordon.com or any social media profiles at Coach Dallas Gordon.
At Coach Dallas Gordon. If you didn't catch it, it's in the notes because everything's always in the show notes too. But if you were listening and you're like, I ain't got time to go to the show notes, let me just pause you and move right across. And there you go. You've got it all here. Dallas, this has been wonderful. What would you like to leave our guests with? What would be your closing parting words of absolute wisdom?
It would just be, you're totally safe. You're totally safe. You're provided for. The world, the universe has been made to support you. So you have nothing to worry about. Like you said, Lovelda, whatever way, you need to translate that works for you, whether it's religious or, you believe in the power of the universe or however you need to translate it, you are safe. So you're safe to do you and to be you and to show up as your authentic self. You do not have to say things that you think that people might want you to say. You don't have to be who you think that people might want you to be, or if you think a person that you think people might accept, like you can do you and you can prosper being 100% the real you. 100%.
Beautifully said. So ladies, you ain't got no excuses. You have been blessed with the support of the universe and the blessing of us and the reminder of your permission to go out there and do 100% you, because you can't be an authentic, powerful female voice doing it anybody else's way. So until next time, this has been the Lovelda Show, Women of Power podcast. I will see you ladies on the next episode. Go out, shine, and show the world who you're made of.